everybody, Jennifer from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am back with another project using the Christmas cheer paper from Country Craft Creations. This paper is exclusive to Country Craft Creations. There we go, there's our cover sheet. It is a retro Christmas paper. It is very bright, very cute. It's got adorable cut aparts. And tags and things, and that's what I used to make this. So this is my Ornament shaker album. Yes, it is round. The pages are round. This whole thing is a Cricut file that I will link in the description below. So I've got my big shaker on the front. And then actually, we've got another shaker on the back that if you were really ahead of things and you knew what pictures you were putting in here, you could put your picture inside that shaker. So it's got a 2-inch spine, but then by the time you do the shaker, which the shakers are done with the inside piece of an embroidery frame. So they're super, super easy to put together. You're not even going to believe how easy these are to put together. So on the front here, I have done some poinsettias with the Heartfelt Creations large poinsettia die and the poinsettia shaping mold, which I actually have a really short video that I'm going to post on this, probably on Instagram and then on shorts on YouTube on how to use this because it's really cool. And it does just really emboss these and give them a really cool effect. So let's take a look inside. So this, well, it laid flat until I put the flowers on the front. Anyway, what I've done, it's very simple inside, simply because you're dealing with the round pages, which the pages and these mats are all part of the Design Space file. The half pocket here and the one that's on the back cover were actually cut from the circle that cut out of the center of this frame piece. And then I've just got photo mats that I've done and just tucked in here. We've got our photo mats here. This is the smaller poinsettia die. Let me grab that one. This die that is also Heartfelt Creations. These are just some little quilled things that I had in my stash. I actually don't even know where I got them from or how long they've been in there. I literally have a box of just like Christmas embellishments that I started pulling stuff from. So yeah, there you go. All right, so this opens up and you've got some more photo mats in here. We've got one of the cut aparts matted, and you of course can put a picture underneath there, like so. Then we've got some more pockets with our photo mats and just more one more out of my stash, some of the cut aparts, and then again the small poinsettias, which I did spray with some shimmer spray that I made with some shimmer powder and water that I had. The center of those are the gems from the Jewels mix, the holiday mix that is available at Country Craft Creations. Hopefully it's still available. Hopefully it hasn't sold out. That's also what I've added onto the wreath here. The center of my poinsettias here. There's some in the center of these, and then there's some other just random ones that I glued on the top of the shaker there. So we get onto our next page. We've got, again, more of the photo mats, more of the poinsettias, another one of those little wreaths. There were 3 of them in the package. Again, I don't know where I got them from. I don't know how long I've had them, so I apologize, but they just were perfect for this. So I glued some little pieces in there to just, you know, kind of add something to that. So this one, I didn't do anything on this. I like the presents the way they are. We've got our photo mats in here as well. Again, we've got another cut apart and some more poinsettias. These little pieces are from a really old Tim Holtz like Christmas ephemera pack that, again, was in my Christmas box that I don't even know. They're from like 3 or 4 years ago. Same thing with the little December 25th, but the poinsettias are again with the smaller of the 2 dies. And then again, we've just got our our photo mats here. I did add some of the little jewels on this page here that you can kind of see in the light there. And then my other half pocket, and I did fussy cut the little girls checking the mailbox off of one of the sheets of paper, and my last of my little wreaths, and then just a couple more little mail pieces out of that Tim Holtz ephemera pack, and then again photo mats. So that is it. That is my ornament album. I've had this one planned, oh my gosh, probably a month and a half now, and I just had not had time to sit down and make it until now. So actually goes together much faster than you would think, because you're cutting all of this with the Cricut. You're doing a little bit of scoring by hand, and other than that, you're just assembling. So Cricut file will be linked below. First part of the tutorial is just what the pieces are in the Cricut file, and then we'll get through to assembly. So here we go. Okay, so when you open the file in Design Space, you're going to see two brown pieces. These are going to be your chipboard pieces that you're going to cut with your chipboard. You're going to see 4 yellow pieces. These are the top of your ornament. I cut mine out of silver, matte silver cardstock. The 2 black pieces here are your acetate. You've got your 2 rings that will go around your acetate on top of your embroidery hoops for your shaker. You have 4 large round red pieces that are to mat your chipboard. You have 8 pieces that have a little tab on them, little 1/2-inch tab over here. These are your page bases. The rest of this, the light green, the dark green, and the white, are all of your matting for the pages, and then photo spots for the pages within the album. All right, so once you have everything cut, you're going to have 4 pieces like this. This is just some silver cardstock that I had in my stash. There is some silver and some gold mirror cardstock that would work for this in the store at Country Craft Creations. These are my 2 pieces of lightweight chipboard that are going to be the top piece on our ornament. And that, of course, this is the matting for these. When we get to that point, you're going to have 1 piece of acetate that you have cut. You're going to have the frame for the acetate. You're going to have your 2 pieces of regular medium weight chipboard. So this is the heavier chipboard. You're going to have 8 pieces that are round with this little tab on the end. So these we're actually going to score, but I could have set the Cricut to score these, but quite honestly, it doesn't matter if I'm using the scoring stylus or if I'm using the scoring wheel that is available for the maker. I just don't like the results trying to score things with the maker or with the Cricut just in general. So we are going to score these by hand. I'm going to set those aside for right now because those are our pages. And then you've got 4 pieces that are just the circles, and these are what we're going to use to mat our chipboard here in just a few minutes. The other thing that you're going to need, and this is how we're going to make our shaker, okay? So this is a 10-inch embroidery frame from Michaels. I think I paid, $3 maybe for this. We want the inside piece of this, okay? So we don't want the outside rim, we want this inside piece. So this, let me move my pages out of the way. So this and this, assuming you did not accidentally resize anything, the chipboard and this frame should be the same. So if you are buying I just threw the tag away. Hold on, bear with me. Loops and Threads bamboo hoop in 10 inches from Michaels, this will fit perfectly. These are over kind of by like the little bit of sewing stuff that they have. And typically like with the yarn and that kind of thing is where you usually find their embroidery hoops. So this does end up being, I know it says 10 inches, edge to edge, it's actually about 10 1/8. So that's how this is sized. So this of course, will sit on top of there, and that will be our shaker. Okay, I am going to set all of this right here aside for right now because we're not going to do that part just yet. What we can go ahead and do is take 2 of our circles and we can go ahead and glue those onto our chipboard pieces. So normally when I'm putting together an album cover, I would use score tape. However, because this one isn't getting wrapped, we're okay to go ahead and just glue this. Sorry, I've got clogged up glue like always. Apologize. So I am going to go ahead and I am going to be, fairly generous with the glue. And this is now going to be the piece I'm putting down, just so that I have time to stand this up, slide it around, make sure it's lined up exactly. They should come out the exact same size. I am actually going to use my little smusher tool for my Misty just to burnish this down. And quite honestly, I love this for my Misty, but to burnish down paper, it's so much more comfortable than using like a brayer or my little, you know, I've done it with the matte scraper. I've got another like scraper thing that I've done that with. That actually works really, really well. And it helps, you know, spread that glue out so that we're not going to have glue lines. Okay, so I'm going to do my other piece. And again, we're just going to drop this down on top. I'm going to stand it up, make sure it's even all the way around, edge to edge. And then I'm going to come in here and just burnish that down. Okay, I'm going to grab our spine pieces and I will be right back. Okay, so for our spine, you need a piece of chipboard, 2 inches by 4 inches. You're going to cover that in score tape. To wrap that, you need a piece that is 5 inches by 6 inches. We are going to use our 1 inch and our 1.5 inch spacer. I'm going to get the backing off of my score tape. Okay, I'm going to put that down. Move the spacers and the scoreboard for right now. And you're going to fold and burnish. Okay. Grab my scissors and we're going to cut out the squares on the corners, just like we normally would when doing a normal album wrap. Assuming, of course, that you use the easy wrap method as opposed to, you know, where you're putting all the pieces together, the paper together, and then, you know, spacing the chipboard on top of it and wrapping the whole thing at once. Because if you're not using easy wrap, you should. It's so much easier. Okay, so then we're going to miter. And miter. And then again. All right, so I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to run glue along the edge of the chipboard and then onto my tab. I push it up against the chipboard, over, and then burnish it down. Same on the other side. Okay, so we're going to leave our wings, our side pieces, as they are. Sorry, I've got like glue going everywhere here because I got a tiny bit carried away, but that's okay. All right, so actually we do need to put the cardstock on the back of these before we glue this. However, I'm going to leave it off just to show you how this is going to go together. Okay, so let me grab one of my pages. Okay, so you'll see the pages have about half an inch in on all sides as far as their circumference versus the actual album itself. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll lay one of your page pieces on here. Okay, and you're just going to kind of, you can eyeball it, you can go through and measure and make sure, you know, you're in half an inch everywhere. But what you're going to want to do, once you figure out where that's going to go, is you're going to come over here where this tab is, because this is the part we're going to score, so that this little tab on these page pieces is going to fold. Okay, what you're going to do is mark where that score line is. Okay, you're going to do this on both sides. Okay, then when you glue this down, you're going to use that to line up where this spine is going to go, because the spine is going to sit on the inside of the book. Okay, so you're not going to see the spine from the outside. You're just going to see the ornament. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. Let's flip it clear the heck over here. I'm on a roll with that today. Okay, and I'm sure at this point you're going, okay, well, we have a raw chipboard edge all the way around this album. Yes, we do. When we get everything done and, oh my gosh, seriously, I've got glue everywhere today. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little trick with some twine, some baker's twine, to cover up that chipboard edge, and it gives a really cool finished look to your album. If you wanted the edge to not be as noticeable, and you don't want to do the little twine trick that I will end up showing you, you could also paint the edges of your chipboard before you put your cardstock on. So if you were making your base out of another color, you know, just match it up to whatever color cardstock you're using. Of course, if you're doing the paint route, black's going to be the easiest to match up, obviously. Okay, so now I'm going to do this for real. That's what I wanted to show you on just the brown cards, or the chipboard, as opposed to with the cardstock already on it, because it is harder to see at that point. Okay, so I'm half an inch there. And not up here. Okay, about right there. Okay, I've got my line where my score mark is. Well, where my score mark is going to be. And then I'm just going to mark. Okay. And then I'm going to line this one up. Do the exact same thing. which if you want to, in fact, where did it, oh no, where did I put them? Our little bitty spacers. Oh my gosh, I just had them. There they are. Okay, I'm not losing my mind. Okay, so this is one of the new tiny 1/2-inch spacers. Okay, so what we can do to line this up and make sure that this is going to be the same spot on both halves is I'm just going to hold this on the line here. Okay. Actually, yeah, that's how I want to do it. Sorry, I'm trying to think this through as I do it. Okay. I'm going to very carefully. No, we are going to do it the other way. Okay. So I'm going to stack them together because we know these are both the same size. Okay. I'm going to hook that, put that there. And I'm going to get some clips. Actually, I'm going to get my other little clips because they're going to be easier to squeeze. Okay. You're going to line them up. You're going to line up this little bitty spacer or your normal spacer or your ruler or something on that line. And we're going to clip. And we're going to clip again. Then we're going to turn this over. I need to slide my spacer out just a tiny bit because it's in the way. And honestly, I'm sure if you've not watched one of my shaped album tutorials or you've never made a shaped album, you're probably going, she's nuts, which truly I probably am, but that's okay. And we do want it on this side of it. Sorry, this is my first time having these awesome little bitty spacers available to maybe make this part a little bit easier. Some shaped albums, if you get the spine slightly off, it's not going to matter just because of their overall shape and how they go together. In this case, we need it to line up exactly. Okay, so we've got our spacers. Our spacers are on the outside of our line. So now I can line up the edge of my ruler with the edge of my spacers. And I can draw another line. And assuming this worked like I hoped it did, I should be able to lay my ruler on my first set of my first set of lines, have it match up with my second set of lines, and be good to go all the way across, which I am. Okay, so we've got that. So now I'm going to take my spine piece, okay? I'm going to start on the one where I've just got the two, because you'll see here, I've just got the two small lines, basically the width of the tab for the page and where it goes, okay? I am also going to grab my 1/4-inch score tape because when I get this positioned where I want it to grab immediately. I don't want to fight with this. I don't want to have to hold it. I don't want to have to worry about this slipping and being off as I am trying to position it with the glue. We want it down and stuck immediately, okay? So I'm going to fold this up. I'm going to line up right on my line. And then I'm going to put that down. And because I've got my score tape, we're stuck. And then I'll burnish, wipe up any extra glue, and then I can erase my pencil line. Okay. Now, for the other side, we're going to basically do the same thing. This one's going to be a tiny bit trickier though, because we've already got one side down. We need this side to line up the same way. Okay, so I'm going to line up my sides together. You'll see I'm not quite all the way out. And I'm just marking where the sides of this are so that when I turn this over and go to put it down over here, I can line up on my line with my sides where they're the exact same space. I'm going to erase part of that just because it's going to be hard to erase once this is down. Okay, so again, I'm folding this up. I'm lining this up on my line. There we go. There we go. So, I think we are good. We are not crooked. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the hardest part of this entire project right there. Okay, so you can now find a piece of red artisan or whatever color you're using. And I forgot to get this prepped. I apologize. Well, maybe. I have 1,001 scraps over here and I can't find the one I was looking for. That I put back in the drawer by mistake. But I didn't trim, that's why. Okay, so this is going to be three and 7/8 by 6. Okay. We're going to cover the back of this one with score tape as well. Let me grab, because I have the little 4x6 sheets, so that's what I'm going to use. Or, sorry, 6x6 sheets. I'm going to use one of those because that will make this really easy. Okay. So I'm just going to line this up on the back of my little reinforcement piece here. Over, take my knife, and there we go. Okay, and this is going to go down right across here like so, just to reinforce. Okay, I'll turn this sideways so that I can line it up top to bottom, burnish that down, fold up, and fold up. There we go. There is our base. Now, I'm going to set this aside for right now because before we put the pages in here, we are going to flip this so it lays flat, and we'll go ahead and put our shaker on, but I want to go ahead and score my pages first. Okay, so lid on the glue. This is why the glue is always such a mess. Okay, so you're going to put the flat piece against the edge of the scoreboard, and you're going to score these at 1/2 inch. And this is again where these little spacers are going to come in handy. In fact, that's not my 1/2 inch one. That would be helpful if I found my 1/2 inch, not my 3/8. I need to put vinyl on them. I haven't had a chance yet. So just to help me make sure I'm getting this into the right place, wherever my scoring tool went, I'm going to use that to help line up and score. Okay, I'm going to do this with all of these. Okay, I think I've got it under control, so I am going to move that for now. Okay, and I'm actually going to have to run up and make dinner, and then I will come back and finish this up. Okay, so we've got our pages. There are 8 total. Now, you have a couple of options here. What I was envisioning for this is that you'll take one of these pages, you will fold this tab over and burnish it down, and you will glue it so that each one of these is going to open. Okay? You don't have to do it that way. You can also glue all of this together just to strengthen it, because normally your little hinge point here is going to run the entire length of your page. In this case, it's not, which is why I was trying to reinforce them somehow, or actually you can attach them just down here for the flap as well, rather than folding that under and attaching it. You can just attach them there and that will still open, okay? So I have to decide which way I'm actually going to end up doing this, because the way these are going to go on to our spine is just like they were a flap, okay? So we're going to start about 1/4 inch in, okay? So wherever the edge of my spine is here, I'm going to lay this, starting 1/4 inch in, and I can put my flap down, okay? And then the next one is going to go right next to it, just like when you do a waterfall, and you're going to do those across, okay? But we want to do our shaker first. So I need to very quickly cut the pattern paper that's going to go underneath this whole thing. So I will do that really quickly off screen and get my glue gun heated up so that we can put our frame down, and then we'll go ahead and get that going. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have gone ahead and matted the outside with pattern paper, and of course, like I said, the matting for the outside is the light green pieces. There's also 2 for the inside, which of course you're going to look at this and go, How's this going to work? I'll show you when we get to that point. We're not quite there yet. Okay. So, and I know I initially said one embroidery hoop. It's actually two. I was sitting here going, why do I have two of them sitting on my desk? That's why, because it's actually two. We're doing this front and back. Okay. And I know what I forgot to put on here before I, dang it. Okay. Before you mat this, you're going to want to put your little ornament hanger piece on. Okay. I'm going to have to cut my scissors. I'm going to have to cut mine down just a bit because clearly I wasn't paying attention and I didn't get it on here. But it's meant to sit down in there a ways. And I know in the very beginning walkthrough when we were going through the pieces you'll have cut, there was lightweight chipboard that went with this. I decided it was actually going to be too bulky, so it's going to just be your little either silver or gold, however you want to do that part. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since my inside part is okay, I'm going to glue these down on the inside first so I can get their height and whatnot where I want it. I have lost my paper towel again. Clearly. Opposite side of the desk, because, you know, that's where it will do me the most good. Alright, so I'm going to do this from the back side. I'm going to actually stand it up so I can kind of see about how far up I want it to stand, which is why it's so long, so that it wasn't going to be an issue of it being too short. If you want to cut some of it off the bottom, you could. I'll get this other one on the inside. So again, I'm just going to stand this up, line these up as best I can. If you could see me literally, I'm sitting here like scrunched down, squinting at this to make sure it looks like it's about the same height. Good enough. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, since like I said, I screwed up and forgot to put these down beforehand, I'm actually just going to mark on there, and I'm going to just cut. Because you're going to glue them together at the top, so it's really not going to matter other than I cut that one in too deep. But you know what? It's okay. So let me that's better. Okay. So I'm going to get some glue on the back of this. And line them up together. And pinch. There you go. Alright, so I'm going to put the one that's a little bit, cut just a tiny bit shallow on the back where nobody will know it's not quite right except me and anybody else who is still watching at this point. But if you've watched me before, you know this is par for the course. This is how this goes. Okay. Alright, so there's our ornament hanger. See, it's looking like an ornament. Alright, so now what we're going to do, and you can paint these beforehand if you want to. I'm actually, I probably should have painted them. I'm actually going to leave them as is because I'll probably end up running some ribbon around this outside edge. But I'm going to just go as quickly as I can. And of course it's hot glue. It's going to set up way faster than you think. I'm going to go around this as fast as I can without burning myself, which I probably just jinxed myself because I haven't burned myself on camera in a while. Okay, and this should fit flush, top to bottom, side to side, with the front of your album. I'm just going to push it down, and there it is. Yay, so easy. And then we'll do it again for the back. Okay. So my son is on Christmas break starting tomorrow. He's home for 2 weeks. Because I did too much retreating and traveling and other stuff over the course of the year, I did not have enough vacation to take the last 2 weeks off like I typically would have done. So it's going to be really interesting around here for the next 2 weeks while I'm trying to work and he's home. It'll be okay. Okay, so that's down. All right, so I'm going to turn that off for just a minute. I'm going to slide that out of the way. So I've done one of my acetate pieces, okay? All you're going to do is take score tape and go around the outside edge of your frame. Then you're not going to pull the score tape off of this all at once. You're going to do it a little bit at a time. That way this stays on here without anything hanging out over the edges where you don't want it. So what I suggest doing, and this is one of the reasons why I have paper clips on my desk down here. And it's not just from when I'm doing tutorials and I've got, you know, my papers all cut ready to go. This is another reason why. So I'm just going to line this up. And I'm going to very carefully clip this to my frame. Okay, this way, and I know when you cut this, you're going to look at it, you're going to think there's no way this is smaller. The acetate is actually like a 1/16 of an inch smaller, maybe. I know I didn't go a full 1/8 of an inch. I think I only went a 1/16. I'm actually going to move that one over because that's where I'm going to start. Okay, so I've got that tacked down. So what I'm going to do, wherever the end of my score tape is, which is right here, I'm going to pull that out part way. I'm going to lay this down. Okay, I'm just going to keep going around. And I mean, you can do this when you're putting your acetate on the back of like a normal frame. But those, it's a lot easier if it ends up a little bit off and hanging off the side. On a normal frame, it's much easier to come back in and just trim it up with scissors, because I do that all the time. When it's a shaped one like this, it's a little bit harder, which is why we're going to do it this way. Okay. And there you go. That will be a perfectly placed piece of acetate. And then I'm going to come over here with my bone folder, and I am just going to burnish all the way around. And that's going to smooth out anywhere where our tape's kind of bubbled from, of course, running a straight piece of tape around a curved object. But that's going to help get that put down. So let me pause this for a minute. I will grab my shaker fill and I'll be right back. Okay, so these are the shaker fills I'm going to use. These are from last year. I did not have any of the newer ones in my stash, which surprises the heck out of me because half the time this is what I buy refilling my stuff. But I will link to a couple of really cute options. In fact, there's a reindeer one that I've got to remember to go out and order because it is adorable. So because these are bigger, I am going to, because normally I wouldn't use an entire bag of shaker fill on one shaker, but because these are bigger, I am going to go ahead and use the whole thing. And I'm going to do one side first so that I don't get this completely screwed up. And really, it needs something else in here, and I'm not entirely sure what. So, give me just a minute. And I am just wiping down my acetate with a dryer sheet. This is a used dryer sheet, so just save them when they come out of the dryer. But let me find, oh, there was a cut apart. There was a cut apart I was going to put in there. Let me grab that. I'll be right back. Okay, so a couple of things. And I meant to check it before I had put my shaker fill in, but I was able to fix it. One thing you're going to want to watch, because the embroidery hoops aren't going to be necessarily completely flat, what you're going to want to watch is that you don't have any gaps around the edge. So all I did, and this is where I know I said when I was doing the little Christmas train about clear glue sticks, okay? So what I've done is I've gone around the inside edge of my frame on both sides with the glue gun, and I've just sealed that off to make sure that nothing is going to pop out of my shaker, okay? So next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go over the back of my acetate piece with a dryer sheet. And I am also, as soon as I find it, going to take a piece of towel and some rubbing alcohol. And go over the back of it with that as well. Okay, that's going to clean up anything that may be stuck on the back of that you don't notice right now, but that you will notice the minute this is down and you can't fix it. Okay, so this one we have a little bit more leeway. So I am going to start with glue along my top edge. I'm going to flip this over. And this should fit exactly on top of the frame. Okay. Okay, so got it tacked down in one spot. So I'm just going to very carefully lift up and glue. Okay. Okay. And you may be able to put this down with art glitter. Honestly, you might be able to do it with like the red line tape, but I don't want to take that chance. So I am going to go with the hot glue. Okay. So anywhere we've got some of it hanging out, you can just pick that off as it cools off and dries. And I got a little glue string on the inside there that I did not mean to get, but it cannot be helped at this point, but it's okay. Okay, so I'm going to go over my front with my rubbing alcohol as well. And there's the front shaker of our album. So after all of this gets finished, you could cut another frame with pattern paper if you wanted to. I have this fun little bitty pencil, and that's what I'm going to go around the front of this with. So, and I might go around the sides too. I haven't decided if I'm going to use that or some ribbon on the sides, but we'll figure that out here in a little bit. So, I'm going to open this back up. I've already got my cut apart down in here. I'm going to put down my, I've gone around my inside edge with the glue gun to make sure everything's tacked down. I'm going to empty that whole one in there. This one's cute. It's got little snowmen, little trees, and it's just pretty. Okay, so again, back side with the dryer sheet. I'm really going to rub this down good. And then I'm going to get the rubbing alcohol again and go over the inside. And then we're just going to do the exact same thing we did before. I'm going to start on a harder edge to get to. Let's see if I can go a little bit further this time before I put it down. There we go. All right. So I am going to start to lay this down on an edge that does not have glue so I can get it lined up the way I want it, and then go push it down on the glued side. Okay, and then we will just proceed on around, just like we did before. You want to make sure you have glue all along there. There's no open areas. Because if there is an open area, that is somewhere for your shaker fill to escape. And you don't want that. But you also don't want so much of this that it raises up. There we go. That one went much faster. Okay. Thankfully that has started to cool down, so I have not burned myself so far, and I'm not going to because we're done with the glue gun. Because I know how this goes. Oh, no, we're not done. Oh, I've jinxed myself. I didn't get around on this side. Oh, maybe we're okay. There we go. I will be picking glue off of my fingernails all night long. So that's how this goes. All right. Well, I will come back in a little bit and clean that glue up. Okay. So, what I'm going to do next, again, here's our pretty shaker. And if you wanted to, if you were that ahead of the game that you knew what pictures were going in this, you could absolutely put pictures from Christmas inside this before you put your top on, and that would be amazing. Where's my, sorry, we're going to go over this back side of this really quickly with the rubbing alcohol as well. And there we go. All right. So I am going to set this aside for right now. And and we're going to grab our pages. So I think, I'm trying to think which way I really do want to do this. I think I do want to do this with these as flaps. I'm just trying to think if that's really what I want to do here. So this is what happens is I've had this design for like a month now. I just haven't had time to sit down and actually make it. So now, of course, my original plan, I'm questioning. That's what happens. Which really, you could still do it as a flap that opens and still put it down on top of that. That's how we're going to do this. Okay. So, what I'm going to do, we'll definitely do it that way. I think that's going to make the most sense here. Okay. So, you're going to take and glue those two tabs together. And because they're Cricut cut, they should line up exactly. Like all of this stuff should line up absolutely exact. Okay? All right. So, doing it that way, that will give you the option to go ahead and make that a flap if you want to, or you could glue partway around and make this into a page. That would be good too. But this way, it's going to give you an option or two. Okay. And I do actually still need to cut my matting for these. I have not cut my pattern paper for this just yet because I wasn't sure how I was ultimately going to end up doing this. So I do need to cut that. And you will have seen there's a couple of options there. And depending on how you put this part of it together, you know, you can kind of determine from that how you want to actually, which ones you want to cut. Or you can cut all of them. Because the way it's set up right now, you can cut all of them, especially if you're doing the pages like this. You'll be able to do that. So we are going to mat these before we put all of this into the book because that will be a heck of a lot easier. So I am going to set these aside for right now. I'm going to cut my pattern paper and I will be right back. Okay, so we are going to mat the inside covers of the album before we put the pages in. So I've done one side. What you're going to do is you're going to fold this over, take your ruler, and you're going to measure from the edge of your spine out. Okay, so that's 1 1/8. I'm going to cut this at 1 inches. So line my circle up in here, line it up to 1 inch, and cut. And then this will get glued down there. Okay. Okay. All right, so then when we go back this other direction, we should be sorry, there's my ruler. So I'm going to measure back this way. So I should have 9 inches roughly. So about the only way I could figure to do this, I need to take about 1/8 of an inch off of this one as well. So I'm just going to line this up. Okay, oops. And this is probably the second hardest part of this whole project, is matting this little inside piece. Now, the alternative to doing it this way is you cut these, you put it down on one side, you figure out where your spine's going to go, and then cut it. Put your spine in and then put it down. Honestly, it's hit or miss. It's hard either way you do it. Or not hard, it's just you have to be patient as you do it. And if it's not exact, again, it's handmade. It's not going to be perfect. It's fine. Okay. All right. Now, if you wanted to come back with your little strip that you cut out and finagle that in there and cut it off and finagle it over there, you could. I'm fine with it the way it is. Okay, so now the pages. So I do have them matted. Like I said, we want to mat these before they go in the book because it's going to be easier. So the way we're going to do this, okay, this is my front page. I'm going to set that aside. I want my second page because when we put these in here, these tabs are going to stack on top of each other, okay? I'm going to take my little 1/4 inch spacer. I'm going to get glue on my tab. And this will center up basically right on top of the matting I've got here. And okay. Now, before I put, oh, shoot. I almost swore. Then I would have to edit it out. Maybe I'll just leave it. Who knows? Depends on my mood, honestly. Okay. All right. And of course, since, you know, these spacers are not going to be available in the store until the beginning of January, you can also take a ruler and just make a line where you need this to line up at. Okay. So we're going to leave that there for now. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So, oh, for crying out loud, why does this not want to stick? This is not going as planned, folks, obviously. I don't think that's where I can really clip it, but we're going to try. No, not quite. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to have to sit and hold this for a minute, but we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And put this one down. You should have a 1/2 inch in the middle, so maybe this time. Okay, I think we're good this time. All right, so I'm just looking to where line this up where the edge of my chipboard spine is. Okay, and then this one will just go on top of the other one. You do that, kind of stand it up, make sure you're not going over where that folds. Down. Get that a second. I'm going to flip back this way. And I figured it was easier to put one of them down and then the other rather than gluing them together and then just putting it down at once. Just to be safe. So that one's down. And at this point, we're down to just doing some additional decorating. I am going to do some little photo mats that will slide in here on the pockets. What we've got on some of the pages is, you know, just some photo spots and then pockets. So apparently I glued myself together there, which somehow I'm not surprised I did that. That's just kind of how it's gone this afternoon. Okay. So again, and a couple of my pockets went on Cricut just because I wasn't watching where I was putting them down, but you know what, that's okay. What I'm going to do on the inside here, and I've started kind of putting it together, is I'm just going to fussy cut a couple of elements. I'm going to back it on some black cardstock, and I'm just going to kind of make a little tuck spot that's got a little more interest than like a normal tuck spot does. So I'm going to get all of that stuff together and finish decorating, and that's it. There's our project. So, as you can see, there is a decent amount of space in between there. If you wanted to add more elements onto your pages, you could. I didn't want to get too crazy at this point just because you never know. But yeah, so there we go. There's our project. Another thing you could do if you wanted to, you could add a closure, and I thought about this the other night, and then of course obviously didn't get around to actually getting it figured out. But you could do another piece with the lightweight chipboard similar to this, put it in here, and then do magnets so that this would have the pieces standing, I'm sorry, not the pieces. So this would stand up on both sides where this would sit flat. Since this will most likely be sitting up and displayed, it's not going to matter for me. Apparently I still have a little gap there I can see right there that's not closed up. Okay, I want to revise how we're going to attach our shaker fronts onto, which my back piece seems to have held up much better, but I've got a couple spots on my front piece that are trying to kind of lift up on me and let shaker stuff out, which obviously we don't want. Instead of using hot glue, I would suggest glossy accents. It will bond with the acetate. It should bond with the wood as well. You could also maybe even try E6000, which I know would hold. But what I would do is put those pieces on and then lay this flat with something heavy on top of it while it dries. Okay, so just a thought there. I'm going to have to come around here in a minute and fix a couple spots on this. And then I totally forgot. We still need to go around our outside edge here. So what I have is, there is some tinsel from Fancy Pants Designs that is in the store at Country Craft Creations right now, and I of course will link that in the description. But rather than go around this edge with twine like I typically would do. I am actually going to, because this tinsel is kind of wide, I'm actually going to go around the edge with the tinsel instead. So I am going to apparently forget where my glue that is. There it is. Get that warmed up and ready to go. Okay, so I am going to start at the bottom here. I actually meant to put this on before I did my inside stuff, but it got buried under some things on the side of my desk here, and I totally forgot I had it to use on this. So, yeah. And upon further inspection, while I was waiting for the glue gun to heat up, I actually only had 2 spots where I had an issue with it not connecting, and from what I can tell, it kind of looks like I didn't have quite enough glue in those spots. So truly, you probably are going to be fine using a glue gun, but using Glossy Accents, E6000, I wouldn't try, I don't know, art glitter might hold. I know I glued seam binding on embroidery hoops with art glitter, so it probably would hold. But I would be kind of careful with that because I don't know how well it would hold. And this, where I had enough glue, seems to be holding just fine. Like I said, it was just a couple of spots that I missed that I didn't realize I missed, or that, you know, maybe the glue was not as thick as it should have been. But that's okay. It happens. So I'm really wishing I had 2 of these so I could do green on both sides, but that's okay. One side's going to get green, one's going to get red, and then I'm actually going to leave the front frame. Actually, I might put the silver on the front of this, but you're literally just going to go around it just like this. And when you get to your end here, where it all connects in together, we're going to just trim that off. And there you go. Okay, so I'm going to get my silver off of the card here, maybe. There we go. Just tear it like that. That'll make it easier. All right. So this, I think I'm actually going to go, you know what, maybe I'll just leave it. I really don't know that it needs it. So I could go around one more time with the silver on the very front. I'm just going to kind of lay it here and see what it looks like, and if it looks like something I want to do. I have to think about that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get the red around the back part here, and that'll do it. So again, even though I've already given my spiel once, I probably will cut it out, but just in case I don't, you get to hear it again. As always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, hit the bell if you want to get notified when I do post new projects. If you end up making this, then by all means, please share it on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations. You can also share it on my page, Scrapping Under the Influence. I also have a group called I Scrapped Under the Influence that you can share there as well. In fact, that's actually probably easier than trying to share it to my actual page. And also you can find me on Instagram and tag me there if you make any of my projects. So just tack this down, go around. I'm gonna run out of glue again. I have to put another glue stick in. Maybe I'll make it last a little bit. I don't think so, but we're gonna try. Okay. Nope, I need a glue stick. Darn it. So close. There we are. Okay. Get that in there. And then we'll get this last little section. All right, there we go. So that's it. We've got our tinsel, we've got our shaker, we've got all our cool little pages in here. So I'm just going to do a little bit more decorating, which you of course will have seen on the walkthrough at the beginning of this video. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.